All right. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Avatar Haang panel Saturday afternoon. Woohoo! Get comfy. Today will be family friendly. How many of you were at yesterday's 18 plus? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, we got a squad. Okay, awesome. So today will be a little more of the standard fare. We'll be just talking about lots of fun Avatar things, experiences in the studio, favorite episodes, favorite lines, asking some questions that you guys want to ask about voice acting, life, Avatar related things, Dante, whatever you want to ask about. My name, I guess I should start there, if you don't already know, is Michaela Murphy, but also known as Jessie Flower, which I will explain, and I'm the voice of Toph in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And you can't see, but I'm doing the panel correctly. There are no shoes on. We're in character. It is preferred personally to not wear shoes. Whenever I cosplay as me, which I sometimes do, I walk around barefoot, and they're like, "Oh man, you're really dedicated to the part." I'm like, "Yeah, it's such a hard decision not wearing shoes. I'm really dedicated to the fandom." So it's a lot of fun, and people are like, "I could never," and I'm like, "I don't know, I feel like it makes me a little more gritty." It's like I'm just, adding a little into the mix to make sure my body can withstand whatever the world has to throw at me. I don't know, maybe that's questionable, but we're doing it. We'll explain the two name thing, which I briefly said yesterday, but for all the new humans, my name is Michaela. As I mentioned, that was my birth name. And when I started acting, I got a lot of Michelas, Michael laws, just straight up Michaels, a lot of mishmashila, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And so 5-year-old me was like, I'm tired of this. And you know what a really cool name is? Because this was like back, Britney Spears, height, Christina Aguilera. I was like, Jessica. Jessica is the coolest name alive. And then I was like, but it's a little long. I want something like punchy. I was like, even cooler, Jessie. Just like 2 syllables, short and sweet. And so I was getting headshots done. Was I 6? Yeah, my first headshots were black and white. I was part of like the end of like middle-age Hollywood when everybody still had black and white photos. And I was like, I want to change my name. And so my mom's like, okay, well then what's your last name gonna be? And I was like, Jessie Murphy. Not my favorite. Still sounds a little like country star. I feel like Michaela Murphy, I should be like releasing a country album in Nashville. Which who knows? Maybe that's next. But I was just like sitting. She gave me like a day. She was like, I don't know, think about it. And I just came back with Flower. She's like, what? I was like, last name, Flower, Jessie Flower. She's like, okay. And that was it. And she let me have the name. And so I've been, that was on my headshots all through 6 years old to 14, somewhere around there. And I would sign my eye with a flower. So if you have received an autograph or you're planning on getting an autograph, the little scribble above the eye is technically a flower. That's the point of that. I used to be more very exact and used to do like, 6 petals all the way around, but we don't have time for that anymore. Now it's become a little more stylized. But yeah, that was me. And then I stopped acting after 14 years old professionally because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor. I must get serious now and stop all this fun stuff. That did not happen, by the way. And once I got to 18 and I did a couple other things professionally, Jessie Flower started to sound not really me as an adult, and in some atmospheres it sounded a little inappropriate. I was like, this could be a name for somebody in an interesting setting, and I don't know if that's my favorite. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to Michaela. And so now we have 2 names. So I sign as whatever my name is in the credits. That was my logic. I was like, if it says Jessie in the credits, that's who I was when I recorded it, so that's who I am when I'm signing your DVD or a picture or whatever. And if I'm Michaela in a video game that hopefully is coming out very soon, or whatever, then I will sign as Michaela. So there you go. That's why I have 2 names, and my mother so graciously let me have both names. And she let me change my name, absolutely no qualm. She's just like, just be sure. Just be really sure. Looking back, I was like, maybe we shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. Here we are. Okay, so I have a fun little thing. We'll see how this goes. It's been interesting trying to find, wow, the frog's in my throat, first of all. Those have been found. But trying to find my Toph voice now, at 28, of me when I was 12. Because it's not crazy different. I wasn't putting on a voice when I was Toph. I was just 12 and 13, living my life in middle school. Yay. And so whenever I started talking to people again when they put this on Netflix in 2020, and I like opened up Cameo to like send people videos for their birthdays and stuff, whatever. I was like sitting down trying to find my Toph voice, and I would overshoot it because it's really easy for me to get super squeaky. So if I go too far, I just miss Toph completely, and I end up in like the Emperor's New Groove, Kronk's New Groove land, where I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's too much. And so if I just talk normally, I'm obviously a little bit lower toned. So it was kind of this like match and listen exercise that I had to do to find her. And it's been a while since I've done that. So I thought I would just play a little video of a couple of, Toph's favorite moments and play it on here and then just try to find my exact delivery and kind of match it now and just do that for a couple lines. And this is how I kind of refresh myself. And sometimes it's better than others. Sometimes people, I heard it immediately as soon as I walked up and talked to you. And some people are like, I don't hear it at all. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you, my dude. So yeah, that's the little thing that I was just gonna do real quick. And if I can get technology to work, this is the first time I've used this for anything. So I was like, hey, they have chords, they have a thing, it's all working, let's try it. So we're gonna try it. And there it is, okay. Technology. Okay, thank you. All right, let's, first one, let's see. If it's a little loud, I apologize. We're gonna turn it down a little bit just to make sure.
Yeah, let's break some rules!
All right.
Yeah, let's break some rules!
I feel like the rules was a little bit squeakier than the original, just a little bit, tiny bit. See, this is how this is what I do in my auditions. I like look at the picture of the character, I do this, and then I listen, and I'm like, is this a little too squeaky? Do we need to add a little more flavor? What do we need to do to like match this image? So, inside look, here we go. All right, next one, let's see.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world. Don't you two dunderheads ever forget it.
Okay, so it's funny because I emphasize the ever a lot now, but I don't really do it in this. I'm gonna listen again. Quick character study. We're doing it again.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world.
Let's just start there.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world.
Okay, little.
Don't you two dunderheads ever forget it. Don't you two dunderheads ever forget it.
Okay, there we go. She hits the get a little bit more. So, I don't know, we kind of, over the last couple years, for some reason, the ever kept getting focused on, like, ever forget it. And now I think we need to bring it back. Ever forget it. Okay, let's see what's next.
There's no different angle, no clever solution, no trickety trick that's gonna move that rock. You've gotta face it head on.
Same thing. Whenever I do videos, like giving somebody an earth lesson, an earthbending lesson, which I do sometimes for birthdays or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, we're doing an earthbending lesson. I do this like very intensely because I feel like it's more fun. Like out of context, you need to add a little more energy. But then in the moment, she's pretty chill. She's like, all right, let's see. There's no different angle, no clever solution, no trickety trick that's gonna move that rock. You've gotta face it head on. It's very like chill.
Say head on, I mean like this. And when I say head on, I mean like this. I am not Toph. I am Melon Lord. Wait.
Amazing.
I am not Toph. I am Melon Lord.
We all know that one. That one we all know.
Minute. I sound like a guy.
I love this episode.
Wait a minute. I sound like a guy. A really buff guy. A really buff guy.
Well, Toph, what you hear up there is the truth. It hurts, doesn't it?
Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have cast it any other way. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have cast it any other way.
Dope. Thank you for doing that with me. So yeah, sometimes it's kind of funny. I'm like sitting down with myself and just studying myself. Yeah, it's interesting going into the recording studio now as an adult because I think as we get older, it's very helpful that we have more brain, but it's also very annoying that we have more brain. It can get in your way, and then you just start like processing way too much. When I was being Toph, people were like, how did you get into character? How did you do this? And I was like, I just like put my brain into tomboy mode, the mode that likes to run around the backyard with no shoes on and climb trees and whatever. And kind of put away the part of me that like loves fashion and heels and like doing my hair. I put that in a closet and just focused on the other stuff, and then came in and was just like, and I'm with the bros. And so I just, worked from that mentality for the whole series. And so there wasn't this whole big rigorous process, and I think that's what's so beautiful about kids in acting, which is, I mean, we get to see so much of in Disney and Nickelodeon, and there are all sorts of upsides and downsides to all of that as far as using kids in media. But I think the most important thing is that when the kids want to do it, which I very much wanted to, and Zach, who voiced Aang, very much wanted to. We were like, this seems cool. We want to do this. And at no point were our parents like, you must keep doing this. You are in charge of our rent. Even if we were like, even if you were helping, like I ended up paying for lots of things. It was just my mom and I. So like I did end up covering some stuff as we were growing up, which was super freaking cool. But I never felt like it was on me, And as soon as I was like, okay, I'm done. Time to do school. I want to be a normal kid. I want to go to prom. I want to go to college, whatever. My mom was like, dope. Sounds like a good idea. And so I think the lack of pressure there is huge. And that contributed to my own ability to act just however I wanted and just be naturally me on the screen. So yeah, now when I go in, I try to like unplug the last like 16 years of programming and just be like, I'm 12 for whatever I'm doing, just because I'm like, what's my instinct say? When I look at this character, when they give me a direction, what is my immediate thought? What does my gut tell me to do? Because that got me a lot of bookings for the first, 10 years of my career. I should just keep doing that. So that's where we've arrived to. Okay. Awesome. So we're gonna do kind of a little mesh situation. This is open to ask questions. We can talk about a litany of topics, but I'm going to start with a couple of faves that we can just get out of the way. I'm gonna talk about favorite episodes that I've been in and just in general, favorite lines, and then just favorite experiences in the recording booth. So I'm gonna check those 3 off, and while I'm explaining those and talking about them, feel free to line up, feel free to not line up, feel free to leave, feel free to stay, do whatever you'd like. But that's what I'm gonna do. So let's see, let's start. Okay, so technically, if you all know, I just realized that like my feet are covered, which is sad. I'm gonna stand over here. Okay, but then the lights are gone.
Stand on top of the table.
I know, but then do I miss the light?
Nope.
Yeah, you got even more light.
There we go. Okay, so, oh, this is perfect because I can just sit right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
please don't fall.
I shan't fall, don't worry. I was in gymnastics for a while, so if I fall, I know how to fall, which is good. Okay, so favorite episodes, this is what I was gonna say. I was the voice of Haang in season 1 first. She's in the fortune teller episode. She calls Katara a floozy. So that was technically my first introduction to Avatar. And I did not know that it was the same show when I got invited back to, audition for Toph. I thought it was something completely different. But it's kind of cool that I technically have a little bit of season 1 since, the best character doesn't come until season 2. So I do, every time I rewatch it, I'm like, dang, when do I get here? There's so much that happens, but it's like, gosh, man, I'm just waiting. So favorite episodes, I love the intro episode. It's funny, somebody put it on a couple days ago because they were just curious, and I was like, you should start in just season 2 if you want to know who I am. They're like, I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm like, okay, that's valid. And it's just crazy, the development, the arc of the story. Like every time I go back to episode 1 and I'm like, wow, just hearing Jack and May, Sokka and Katara's voices and the choices they make and how the dynamics of the characters are they're just so new, and I'm like, wow, it's gonna get so much better. It's not bad, it's just crazy that it's so new, everything has yet to happen. So it's really cool just seeing how out of it and innocent Aang is, and he has no idea what's going on. He's like, let's go penguin sledding. It's like, bro, we got so many things to focus on. But overall, I do love the episode The Library and Tales of Ba Sing Se for ones that Toph are in. I feel like those are her 2 episodes of struggle And other than that, she's just a badass or she's funny, which is great. We love that. But, you know, she can't do both. For the first time, she can't do everything. She can't save Appa and she can't hold up the library. I think she made the right choice, but she had to choose. And it was like watching her grapple with the like, oh, I can't do everything. I have to do this. And then realizing a weakness with the sand bending, which then in the beach later on, whatever, it's like she worked on it and then you see her to be like, boom, figured it out. Never gonna let that stop me again. So just seeing her struggle is key, because that builds character. And then in Tales of Ba Sing Se, I always felt like we missed out on a little bit of like love life with Toph, and like a little bit of the moments where she does want to enjoy herself as maybe a more stereotypical like female in the world. And I think there are parts of her that like that world, but they're so connected to her family and the judgment and everything that she just feels like she has to reject all of it. And it's kind of sad. I mean, the girl, she knows how to clean up. When they had to go to Bosco's party, that woman like, boom, put herself together, and she's like, you don't look right. Like, you gotta look. It's so, you know, I think there are parts of her that really liked that day, and that she got to have that little moment. And of course, when Katara's like, you're really pretty, and you know that you can, like, she could tell that she was telling the truth because she can feel everything, and she's like, meh. So you know, just cool little bonding moments. So I really like those two episodes. The beach in general.
Yep.
Is just a fun episode. Azula flirting forever. Forever. I sometimes think about just taking a few notes out of a book because I'm like, you know what? I'm a little intense. If you can't handle the intensity, you can't handle me, so why should we even entertain this? Not a bad idea, you know? Just start strong, and if they can't handle it, they weren't meant for you anyway. So yeah, I love that episode. And then of course, I mean the finale, can't really beat that. There's so much happening. I feel like the whole airship jumping thing was a little bit crazy. Like everything I kind of believed, but then the fact that Toph survived all that, I was like, okay, I'll roll with it. But like, that was really close. A lot of that was really close. Insane. Anyway, favorite lines. I love the "look, there it is" from the library. That's what it'll sound like when one of you spots it. You know, favorite. And there too, I also love the, yeah, let's break some rules. And she's just like, yeah, let's mess stuff up. Love those two lines. And in the booth, it was often just me. A lot of times the creators, Mike and Brian, were in the room for like every episode, which is not normal. And can you guys hear me all the way in the back, by the way? Thank you, just making sure. I know I waited 30 minutes to ask you, but anyway, sorry about that. And so oftentimes they would try to get us all together, but I had school, because I was gonna be a doctor, so school was very important. And I had to deal with a schedule. So I think a lot of people came in the morning, maybe around 11, noon, and I had to wait until I could skip my last class window, whatever, and come in at like 2:30. So I was alone a lot, as was Toph. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, also by choice. She went to the swamps later. It's fine. She's good. She chose to leave people behind. I don't blame her. And so yeah, I was often by myself, and if I was recording with somebody, I was with usually Sokka, Katara, occasionally Azula or Zuko, just depended on scheduling. And we never saw the Avatar until the finale, because he lived in New York. So we literally never had Zach in the same room as us, which is crazy when you think about the directing power of Andrea Romano, our wonderful director, because she just meshed all of that together, and we never met the kid. So it was pretty cool. But two things. As far as like, people are like, what do you remember, like what's your fondest memory about like going into the studio? It's funny because it's all sensory, and that like, I remember walking up to like the gates and like feeling like the big handle. They had like a big metal door at the time. They've changed the building since then, but a big metal door, and there's like, green splattered everywhere. It's Nickelodeon, so it's just chaos. And like pushing the button, I remember pushing the button and like hearing in my head, like the little intercom just go like, hello, like whatever, like who's here? And then opening the big glass doors and walking in, and if it smelled like popcorn, it was gonna be a good day. Because that means they had made a fresh bag of popcorn in the kitchen right next to the studio, and there was just butter scent everywhere in the building, and I was like, ha ha ha, it's gonna be a good session today. So yeah, it's funny to think about just like, it's like audio, smell, like feel, and not a lot of visual. The only visual I have is really when I was in the booth and just like looking through the window, because I usually sat in the same seat every time. So that makes sense that my visual is just looking through the window, there's Andrea, the little microphone, and I'm like, all right, flipping through my script. All right, next line, let's go. Yeah, the last episode was really cool because we got 9 of us, 10 of us, something like that, in the room at once, including Mark Hamill. So everybody was freaking out. I had not seen Star Wars yet, and I was like, what's going on? My mom was hyperventilating. I was like, are you okay? What's going on? So yeah, that was kind of funny. And same with Gray's kid, Azula's kid, her oldest son, Tex, similar thing somewhere along the way. He's like, so I feel like he ended up meeting Mark somewhere, somehow, and then he asked his mom after, he was like, so was that somebody? I feel like that's somebody. I feel like that. And she was like, yes, sweetheart, like that is somebody. So that was fun. But there were, 9 or 10 of us in the booth at once, which hadn't happened up to that point, and we got to do just pages of dialogue. So a lot of that finale is us just like going through it and like acting in real time with each other, hearing each other all in the headphones, and it just kind of like brought it to life a little bit. So we were all like kind of in the moment, in Avatar land, making it all happen in real time, which was really cool. And there's just like glimmers of that day because there were so many people in the studio. Like the recording studio on the other side was packed with people and artists and the creators, and it was just cool. Yeah, so that was a really cool and special moment in the studio. And here's a little tidbit that I love. So my mom and I, we're pretty scrappy. We're from the Midwest. We moved out to LA in 1998. Woohoo! And we were low on cash, but like you're supposed to give gifts, right? Every holiday season to your agents, to your managers, to the people you work with. And so we would go to the 99-cent store and find something. And we didn't ever know what, but we were like, it's just gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense when we see it. And so we went, back when the 99-cent store was good. Let me just clarify. It's changed.
Yeah.
It's changed. And so we went and they had a whole bin of like those like collapsible flowers, those little like wooden flowers where you push the button on the bottom and they fall and then they spring back up, and we're like, flowers, because my last name is Flower. So we like got 50 of them, and we made little like cards, and I wrote Happy Holidays and signed my name, whatever, and like put the little sticker on the flower pot and gave them to all of our people. And Andrea put hers on her desk, and I was invited back to be in an episode of Korra in a flashback as young Su-Yin. And so I came back like 4 years later, I was like 16 or something in high school, and she still had it on her desk. I know! It like got me, because she has like 3 things on her desk. She's a very clean woman, and she had 3 very like choice items, and that was one of them. I was like, bro, my heart right now, I can't deal with this. So that was really cool. Yeah, anyway, so there you go. Favorite episodes, lines, and moments in the studio. All right, thank you, yeah. On to some questions.
Okay, so my son is 6 years old. You said you started when you're 6.
Yeah.
How in the world did you go about that?
Let me not flash people. Okay. I was okay, but now I'm just getting a little lazy. So thank you guys for coming, by the way. If you need to run other places, I know it's a busy Saturday, so thank you for your time, and I'll be at my booth until 8, so yeah. How did I go about doing that? I think I was just allowed to be creative, first of all, which is step 1. And then step 2, I had a mom who was a bit too generous with her time and energy, sometimes to her detriment. But once I kind of decided and, communicated that I was in it and I was willing to do it for real, she was like, okay, let's like see what it takes. I mean, I love that woman for a multitude of reasons, but she and I just kind of have I don't know, maybe it's a little Toph-like, but we're just gonna figure it out. Like, I wanted to be in commercials, so we got some headshots done, and then we went to agencies, knocked on doors, quite literally. Can't quite do that anymore. Now there's all sorts of weird stuff you have to do. But back then we would just walk in. And so we're like, great, let's look up, internet didn't really exist yet, but we looked in like magazines and like newspaper, whatever, and just found agencies, found open calls, and like walked into buildings and just found people. And I was like repped and dropped by lots of different people along the way. It was crazy. And my mom like was working like crazy too. She was working like 2 jobs, or she would like have somebody come with me to set, or she would like adjust and do part-time so that I could work. It was crazy. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her, and she wouldn't have been able to do it without me, because I also knew that she had to be gone for work a lot. So I was home alone pretty much at 6. I knew how to cook, I knew how to clean, I took care of myself, like I knew how to do laundry. I was very capable. There was one run-in when I accidentally leaned on a skillet when I was making bacon, and that was the only mishap for being alone in the kitchen. And other than that, actually, I ended up making an apple pie one day while she was gone. I liked doing things. I was entertained by my dress-up, whatever, large container of clothing, and had coloring books and had lots of VHSs of Winnie the Pooh and Disney. And so I kept myself entertained while she was working. And then when jobs and auditions would happen, time to go to a job and audition. And so I think I was always just performative. I would start singing technically before I could even talk. I was just singing, humming along to melodies. I would love dancing. I was obsessed with Britney Spears. I got my belly button pierced because of that woman, and and I love it. Anyway, and she, kind of just allowed that to happen. I would go up to strangers and sing the Britney Spears songs. I'd be like, hey, want to hear me sing? Just jump into Oops, I Did It Again, like no pause. So yeah, I think it just happened naturally, and she just kind of let it happen. And then it was just a lot of nuanced trial and error. Yeah, of course.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so my question for you is, I understand you don't have as much experience working with like Japanese animation, but in terms of the process, how does that deviate from
English.
voicing, from voicing Western cartoons?
So, two things. One, for a lot of video games and dubbing, like Japanese dubbing, you don't get a script or a character description ahead of time, or if you do, it's very minimal. And so a lot of the discovery is the day of when you get into the studio. And so they're like, hello, you're these 3 people, here are your lines. What do you think your voices are gonna be? And you're like, okay, give me a second, give me 1 second. Let me figure out what I'm doing. So that's kind of terrifying for me personally, because I love to get stuff ahead of time and like think about it a little bit. That, and then I think the delivery of how things go, I feel like there's generally more warmth in like tone of voice in Western stuff that's a little more, I guess, maybe like chesty. And then maybe for like Eastern stuff, there's a little bit more pointedness. Maybe it's not nasally per se, but it's something that's a little more in like the head, I feel like. A lot of my anime friends that I've gotten to meet because I get to come to a lot of these cool conventions because of Avatar and you guys, it's just cool like going through and listening to their stuff and being like, yeah, you sit in a totally different register for a lot of your stuff, and a lot of my stuff can be like squeaky like this, but it's still like more grounded. I don't know how to explain it. And so yeah, that's been kind of fun to play with. When I voiced Nase in Platinum End, tiny little anime, it was 1 season, it was okay. It's from the creators of Death Note. But that was the first like anime for real that I had dubbed. And so finding her voice was kind of interesting because she was soft. They give you the J reference. They call it the J. They're like, let's listen to the J, which is listen to the Japanese reference. And the J was like really, a lot of that. And then they're like, we don't want that. We want her to like bring her down. And I was like, okay, but some of the quality. So she just wants you to be really happy. And like, she almost sounds like Ty Lee. That was almost my Ty Lee voice, I guess. So she just wants you to be super happy and Mirai, like, can we go over here, please? Like, it just was kind of detached from here, which was interesting for me to discover. So yeah, I don't know if that was helpful, but that's what my brain thinks.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Hello.
So my question is, what's your favorite, like when you watch the show back, like her Toph's interaction with another character, where it's like her sitting down like with Iroh, or when she was running the scams and stuff with any of the games?
You said it. Iroh is definitely, it's become more of a favorite too, because I got to record that scene with Mako as the original voice actor, right? So it's kind of cool that like Toph gets this random, like both worlds like intersect for a second early on while they still hate each other and get to come together and have a cup of tea. And we do that scene when we're together at these cons and we like find some tea and like sit down on the stage and like do the lines. And it's really cool. So I do love that moment just because I feel like neither of them is like charged with the energy that the other people in their group are. They're kind of like, we're just trying to figure it out. We're trying to like be at peace. And they're both extremely powerful benders too, which is crazy. They're just like sitting with all this power and just like having a cup of tea, which is just really cool. I do love that moment. And then, I mean, Earth Rumble 6. That's also, like, it's kind of hard to beat. So yeah, but Iroh does hold a special place in my heart, as he does for all of us, I'm sure. You're welcome.
If Avatar: The Last Airbender was made today and you still got to deal with Toph, is there anything you would have done differently compared to back then?
No, because then it'd be different. There's a couple lines here and there where like the read maybe could have had a little more emphasis somewhere, like a little more energy in the delivery, but Andrea knew what she was doing. So if she really needed more energy, she would have gotten more energy. And so, you gotta trust the people in the process. So yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, what is your favorite dynamic in Avatar in terms of character relationships?
Ooh. I do wish that if Avatar were more older directed, that like Jet and Katara would have actually had like a little fling, just because there was like so much tension there for a moment. But gosh, Suki and Sokka are so cute, even though it's heartbreaking for me. But they are really cute as far as relationship goes. It's weird. When I got to the end, I was a little thrown by the Katang, Katara and Aang. I wasn't quite ready for it yet. I was like, I feel like we need 2 more years. I don't know. I know we're gonna get there, but I feel like this happened too quickly. But yeah, I guess that's like a little bit of like a fantasy one, but I do love Suki and Sokka. They're very sweet together, even though Sokka's an idiot, but yeah. You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I wasn't expecting that. My question, and I just want to make sure I articulate this well. How much do you identify with Toph?
For those of you that were here yesterday, some of this will be familiar, but I do resonate with a lot of her, I would say, strengths and weaknesses. She's extremely independent. She's very ambitious. As soon as she's decided on like what she's going to do, she's going to do it, and pretty much nobody's going to stop her. With that, however, comes a lot of just stubborn pushback, very opinionated. She thinks she can do it all by herself, which is not true. So I think I share both of those things. And as I mentioned yesterday, I'm the latter half has been a lot of like the last 5 years of me kind of unlearning that and being like, you need friends. People can help you. You can trust other people. It's okay. So I think that that's kind of an interesting parallel, but also growing up as an only child of a single mother. I think that was a lot of just like, we're doing it by ourselves. And it's been hard to be like, hey, look at all the people who can bring cool things into your lives. Like literally every single one of us, if we each had a one-on-one conversation for 30 minutes, would probably find so much in common of just random things in life and like, oh yeah, this also happened in my life, or like I also happened to go here, or whatever. And I think realizing that has been helpful in, making those later 3 a little softer and not as pronounced. But yeah, I actually relate to her a lot. And I think a lot of the voice actors for their characters in this show in particular also do actually relate to their characters a lot, which I don't know what to take away from that, but I think it's true. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I need water. Keep going.
Hello.
Hi.
So one of my questions would be, as a child voice actress, do you think it made your childhood like a little tougher with like balancing school and work and trying to make like social connects and stuff like that?
Yes and no. I think early on I wanted to be an adult. I didn't want to skip over like the young parts, but I just wanted to feel relevant. I wanted to like make money. I wanted to be doing something that like people would see. And initially when I first wanted to do something like that, I wanted to be a bagger at the local grocery store. And I was like, I want to bag groceries. Like I want to be in the middle of society doing things. Like that's what I wanted to do. And I went and I asked multiple times. They're like, you are 6. We can't hire you. Come back when you're 14. I'm like, 14, bro, 8 years? Absolutely not. I can't wait that long. So it was kind of a combination of, I just wanted to do things. And then it was tricky for me to connect with my peers because they would want to just run around outside and do nothing or play games, and I liked that for a bit. And then I liked talking to their parents. And so just be like talking to their parents about like their experiences and like what they used to do in college and like their careers. And I was like, you're cool, your kids are fine, but you're cool. Like, and so there became this disconnect where I just started like vibing with adults. I just thought that people who had lived life were cool. So, when you're a kid and you don't have that much experience, it's obviously gonna be a bit of a disconnect. I think it also made just hanging out like in middle and high school, I viewed those as like, oh, we're all like peers, like work peers and not like friends. I think I have a hard time just separating the two, and even up until recently, like in New York, I moved there for musical theater after college, and it was like, cool, so what does friend really mean? Like, do you pick somebody who's kind of gonna go to dance class with you? Is that like a friend that would be more necessary? Or do I just pick like a random person who I vibe with but has absolutely nothing else in common with me? How do I do this? So it, I think, definitely affected it a little bit because everything was so work focused, but I didn't feel like it was a bad thing. Like, I don't think I turned out terribly, or that I'm mean to people, or that I cut people. Is everybody okay out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Stay alive. Oh, please, if somebody stay alive if you're having a problem. And so yeah, I think that's probably, it affected it for sure, but
Thank you.
not terribly. I don't think. Maybe.
Take a moment to breathe. So you were playing my cartoon crush as a kid. It's a very big moment for me right now.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
super nervous. So anyways, my favorite episode from the show was when you found a piece of meteor for Sokka to make a sword out of. And I decided in my childhood that I was going to become a sword-fighting blacksmith.
Okay. And is that what you are today?
It's been a very long road.
Okay.
Yes. Last year, I got to have a pro fight with Dan Hornbuckle, a welterweight cage fighting champion. He was fighting me for the national position on the sword fighting team for the USA.
Damn.
I lost, but we're gonna get a rematch.
Hey, that's okay.
But I have one big win. I made the meteor sword. And it would mean a lot if you could sign it. And it's really Meteor Damascus.
You are so sweet, and thank you for sharing that in the wake of all your new friends, all of our new friends. That's very, very sweet. And congrats, and well done. Like, good heavens, I can't even imagine. I would not do well if I were to jump into a ring and try to earthbend with somebody right now. Throw me into Earth Rumble 7, I would not win. But yeah, that's very sweet. Thank you for sharing. Did you ask a question? Did I miss it?
Can you sign the sword?
Oh, can I sign the sword? I missed that part. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I heard the other part. I did not hear that part. Do you have a pen?
Does anyone here have a Sharpie?
I also, if we don't, I am going. Are you planning on coming to my to table after? Or do you have to
I
like
can
run
come to the
away?
table. I
Oh,
got
okay,
time.
great. Yeah, after this, I'm going to my table. I'm gonna be there till 8. But yeah, I'm gonna sign your sword. Are you kidding me? Duh. Whatever you want. Can you imagine if I said no? That would be so sad. I just metal bend it into a puddle, and I'm like, there you go. You're welcome.
So your table's in the dealer hall, or where's your table?
Yes. So if you just go out the hall, and then this way, there's a little like autograph hallway specifically. If you need help getting there, just ask. It's very close. And there's a whole line of voice actors right there. I have 10 minutes, don't I? Okay, we're gonna rapid fire. And I'm decent at this.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you. Come, I will sign your sword. All right, rapid fire. We're gonna do it quickly.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well, but also, before all y'all leave, even though some of you did, the ones who are still here, I'd love to take a photo again. Those of you who took one with me yesterday, yay, and I want to take another one today. So, I would love to do that before y'all run away. I'm doing well. What's your question?
Okay, sounds good. Real quick, I just want to say thank you for being here. If we could all give her a quick round of applause, please, for being here. Again, I got a photo with you yesterday. Thank you so much. You're a big part of my childhood. My friends in college, we used to get 20 of us in my dorm. We used to watch you, like Avatar and all that stuff. But my question is for you is, as someone who wants to get into voice acting or like any that type of stuff in general, like what are good companies like some people can look for if they want to just get like the bare roots, like bare grounds and stuff like that?
I'm going to answer really fast, so nobody take this personally. D. Bradley Baker, voice of Appa, Momo, all the creatures. He has a website, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. You can even do iwanttobeavoiceactor.com and put D. Bradley Baker next to it into Google, and it should pop up. Go to that website. He has a whole rundown on starter tips, and he is definitely the guy that you should go to and not me.
Perfect, awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Of course, Blue Spirit. What's up?
You might remember me from yesterday.
Yes, you told me you were going to be Blue Spirit.
Yes, thank you for remembering. One of my favorite interactions, you touched on it already a little bit with your interaction with Mako. Why initially do you think that Toph was so willing to immediately accept Iroh's word in the regard of the conversation as to immediately trusting him? She would know him to be a firebender, and she had plenty of interaction with the gang at that point, but for her to so openly trust someone that she would be aware is her enemy at that point? Why would she?
Well, because you, like you said, oh gosh, my throat, hold on. Need a water bend over here, okay. Because she knew, right? Like you can totally tell. Her gut instinct is like ours times 1,000. So like you can tell the vibe of somebody usually when you're talking to them. And so if there is no threat, just like she doesn't want to be judged for being blind or coming from a really rich family or whatever, why should she judge somebody else just for being a firebender when it's clear that their intent is pure, right?
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
You're welcome. Next one.
Hello.
Hi.
I watched all of Avatar like last month for the first time.
Oh, amazing. Welcome to the fandom. Well done.
I just wanted to ask real quick, what do you think is your favorite earthbending move in the show?
Well, when it's very subtle, but when she discovers metal bending, I know that's not really a move, but you know, you're watching her figure it out, and it's just cool because you get to see, kind of really hone in on her process of literally discovering a new way to like move around earth particles in like a new substance. So that, and I guess when she just slams the doors shut on them, that's, I guess, a favorite moment.
That is awesome. Yeah. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi.
I was just curious, I saw some beef online about The Divide being the worst episode out there. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think is the worst episode?
I think that opinion is respective to the person, and that while the general consensus may be so, there are some people who probably love it. So we shan't hate on any part of Avatar because Avatar is amazing. That's my take.
Hi. First off, it's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What was your favorite moment that wasn't with Toph? It was like a different character or a favorite line from a different character?
So like I mentioned, I love Azula's flirting situation when she's like laughing maniacally and she was just like, you and I can take over the world or whatever, to Chan or whatever his name is. And then I love Ty Lee just as a character in general. I feel like me in real life is like a mix of Ty Lee and Toph, a little strange, but if you think about it, kind of makes sense. And so I just love her general arc and how she's there to be like kind of lighthearted and free and fun, but she, you know, also can make you go limp. So the aura, you know, your aura is very pink is very fun to say. So
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. 4 more, we got this. Oh, 3 more, let's do it.
I'll be quick, I promise.
You're good.
No, this is a shout out to my wife because honestly, watching Avatar made our relationship so much better. And I loved watching it, absolutely. And Toph, you're just like that little cherry on top sometimes, and it's just so funny to me. So I just want to.
Well, that makes me very, very happy to hear.
Yes, can we get a shout out to Becca, please?
Yes, Becca!
Yeah. I love her. I don't know what I'm doing, but I just want to say hi.
Well, that's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I'm back out in the dating world. And it's funny because when I talk to people, either they very much know Avatar or they have no idea about Avatar, and I don't know which is better. I'm like, because if they don't know Avatar, it's like at some point you're going to need to sit down and watch it, and if you don't like it, ooh, I don't know, it's going to be rough. Anyway, yeah.
I was wondering if you've read any of the graphic novels, and if you have, what do you think about how they handle Toph?
I've definitely read Toph Beifong's Metal Bending Academy, because duh. I have not read Suki alone or Katara's standalone one. I've read some of The Promise, some of The Rift, some of The Search. I've got little smatterings. It was forever ago. But I feel like it was cool that they answered stuff about Zuko's mom. But I almost kind of wish they hadn't, in one sense. Because then it's like, okay, I guess that's the story. But was it the story? You know? But yeah, I feel like they did a good job of giving fans more story after the original series was done without like adding on seasons and then making it worse because so many shows do that. And then it's like, and it's 22 seasons and it got bad after season 4. So we were just grateful that it maintained the integrity of the show, I think. And yeah, they did a good job of kind of creating more worlds afterwards.
In Balance is the most recent trilogy, and I think that one has the best portrayal of Toph.
Okay, good to know. I have yet to read that one, so we'll
Thank
look
you.
forward to it, of course. Last one, 3 minutes. Okay, great.
Hello.
Hi.
First off, thank you very much for coming here. This is actually my very first con ever.
Wow! Okay! Well done. Welcome to the chaos. It's amazing, isn't it? What's your question?
But yeah, tell me about, real quick, one of your like favorite projects or shows or whatever from like one of your voice actor friends or workers.
Wait. So from like just a general story, like from a co-star that they've told me, or like just a favorite project that I've worked on in general?
Okay, it's like one of your favorite projects that one of your voice actor friends did.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Anybody who's done anything Sailor Moon, I'm automatically just like, that was the one thing. I got like those old little tiny comics when I was a kid at some like yard sale, and I was obsessed with them. I would just read them over and over and over again. I only had 4 of them, and I just kept reading all 4. So anybody who's done like a Sailor Moon thing, and I think I'd be Sailor Jupiter, is just cool. And I'm like, that's dope. And then I have a couple friends who, I love Broadway. So a couple of friends of mine, I mean, yes, I feel like in this realm of anime and just animation and theater, there's some overlap. But a couple of friends of mine have been able to be, off Broadway or on a tour. And I just, it's gonna happen somewhere. I'm not trying not to force it. I don't know when, but like that's supposed to happen. I sing, I dance, I act, and I love it. So at some point that's gonna happen. But there have been some people who've been on tours for Wicked and Frozen, and gosh, I'm trying to think of other shows. Some Chicago, some Cabaret at some smaller theaters. I love Oklahoma. I was in Oklahoma in high school. Yeah, I don't know. And Cats, I know that Cats is very hit or miss, but I used to watch Cats on VHS, the original West End cast, on in my living room like multiple times a day when I was 8 years old. So yeah, people who've been on Broadway and then Sailor Moon, I guess that's a very strange combination. But yeah, I think that those projects are really cool. Boom, look at that. 1 minute to spare. Let's take a photo. Thank you so much for coming. I will be at my table in Autograph Hall until 8 p.m., so come say hi.
Thanks for making this con special.
Of course.
Thanks for coming to Ohio.
Oh my gosh, of course. I was born in Indiana, so I'm close to friends and family. All right, I'm gonna take, if you want to squeeze to the front or squeeze in, if you're in the front,